Sorry, Chair, if that consultation process produces a strong feeling that the priorities that are enumerated in this document are the wrong ones and they're in the wrong order, and that we ought to wait to see what the consultation produces by way of general principles that will be acceptable to most people, then surely that's what we should be waiting to see whether that has been confirmed or not.
Yes,
Chair, I'm sorry to keep coming back on this, but if you say the local liaison forum is going to have a view on designing what? This is the matter which seems to me to be controversial. Whether we want the sort of principles that have been laid down with bus lanes and putting up trees and so on, or whether we want some other form of demand management. And there are also in the pipeline these huge proposals under the City Deal Award for the closure of roads across the city designed to reduce the volumes of traffic. Now, if they're designed to reduce the volumes of traffic, is there not a chance that they will be so successful that we shan't need these particular measures on the Histon Road?
Well, with respect, you said it's always someone else's problem, but the very people you're prioritising, so cyclists and stay true to the buses, there are people who are telling you this isn't going to work. A managing director in a public meeting said there's no point doing it on Histon Road. There's not enough room. It won't make a difference. And then the cycle groups who are deeply invested are saying it's not going to work. If you look at the publicly available information, the death from a cyclist tragedy on Histon Road was at the alley junction, which these plans are only going to make more dangerous. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
It's a crying shame. It's a crying shame, and it's a huge waste of public. It's a shame or
I've set out the position.
Yeah, sorry, when you said they will be represented at the design workshops, one of the things that they are questioning is the need for bus lanes at all. They simply question the assumption that we should be giving priority to bus lanes. However, the terms of reference of this group are that it has been established that there shall be priority for buses. So isn't it likely that that group, Smart Cambridge, is going to say, well, you're proceeding on the assumptions that we would question?
Well, and I'm trying to...
I'm sorry, look, at the moment, there is a major comprehensive consultation going on about city-wide measures. Let's get this clear. There are city deals, city-wide measures. They include road closures, workplace levy, a residence parking, the possible extension of residence parking schemes across the whole city. All of these are designed to choke off traffic coming into the city, to make the city inhospitable to the commuter. That is the purpose of all of those measures. Now, someone has just described my suggestion that these may be effective as being optimistic. Well, I hope they are optimistic, because that is how they are being proposed by the officers in question, that these measures will seriously reduce traffic coming into the city. If that's not the purpose of these measures, then we're going to have an awful lot of upset for no good reason. So I take it that that is the purpose of these measures. Now, if that is the purpose, why, wouldn't it be sensible to wait and see how effective they are, and how strong will be the need to do the microsurgery on places like the Milton Road trees? Wouldn't it be more sensible to wait and see whether the city-wide measures work so well that we don't need these street schemes?
Thank you, John.
I'm reading the brief again, and under the scope of workshops, it says in the brief, for purposes of design, the principles of maximising priority for buses is a central element. Now, there are many people here this evening who would wish to question That basic assumption. And I think what is making this meeting feel somewhat unstable is that it is not addressing and not being invited to address the central question of whether that is the assumption on which we wish to proceed. That buses and bus lanes and easier access into the city is a priority that we would support. Now, we've got Edward Lee here, for example, whose Smarter Cambridge transport has gathered a huge amount of support for measures other than priority to bus lanes. And if he and his like are to be involved in the workshops, they don't want to be told that the first priority is the design of bus lanes, because that's precisely what they're questioning. I've said this before, I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep on saying it, because it seems to me to be the difficulty that we're all facing this evening.
Yes, okay.
Chairman, we're on item 6. Can I respond to that, please? Because I am the other county councillor. I'm Mike Mason. I'm the other county councillor for Histon and Impington and Cotton. Now, it does seem to me that agenda item 6 is the key part of the agenda that we all seem to be working to. In other words, there are some basic disagreements with the key elements of the scheme, and that by and large we should in fact be dealing with these first before we get on to detailed design through the design workshop programme. Otherwise, we're going to have, as I see it, the whole system is going to, if it hasn't already done so, is going to actually dissolve into chaos. So this item on the agenda is really very, very important, because there are a number of people who would wish to revise the key elements of the scheme and also relate that to the other issues citywide. I could go on to say something about bus priorities. I've lived with them. I've lived in the area for 67 years. I've travelled on every bus that's been going up and down Histon Road and very familiar with the area. I've also been through previous consultations, traffic modelling, etc., in connection with the North West Cambridge scheme and with former schemes with regard to the guided bus. And I travel regularly on the guided bus up Histon Road, including and also the City 8. So I think there's a very, very key point here, and Councillor Histon has already mentioned this, the assumption that we can in fact do something to alleviate problems in respect of bus capacity. Now, historically, the city has gone through years and years of undercapacity for buses. So I think the relationship of these two schemes, Histon Road and Milton Road, to the wider city proposals is very, very important. And in terms of chicken and egg, I do believe that item 6 is your key item on the agenda.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike. I'm sorry that I didn't realise who you were and where. Would you like to join it? Because whether you like it or not, you are actually a member of the... So would you like to take a seat up here?
Well, I'll stay where I am now.
Oh, okay.
We won't get everybody up, but it just seems to me that we are getting things a little out of order here, and if we're going to have meaningful consultation with all the residents, we've really got to go back to first principles. I'm sorry.
Isn't the true answer to this question? Isn't the true answer to this question that you know, there's
a process of public meetings.
I'm really upset now because Because I think we are hearing one thing, but actually we're not hearing the true answer to the question. Isn't the true answer to the question the fact that the mind has already made up, that we are being railroaded into a scheme, and we are asked to adjust minor details here and there as far as design is concerned, but actually the response to the consultation was, sorry, we want to do the maximum. Yes, we heard that there were negative comments. Actually, most of the comments were negative, but we won't take them into account. Is that the true answer? That you've decided already what you're going to do, and it doesn't matter how negative the comments were, you're going to ignore them.
I'm asking this now because I want it to be on record that the question is being asked.
Yep.
I would like to have access to the traffic modelling that went into the 2-minute, 3-minute saving along Histon Road. I would like to have sufficient access to that data to be able to make my own decision.
Could I follow up?
Well, I think it was.
I haven't had a chance to follow up.
I don't know.
Would it be possible to follow up my question? What I was going to say was, if there's a necessity to spend this money, would it not be an idea to put some money into fees for people to look at design alternatives?
Yes.
Before we rush ahead into construction.
Yes.
Can you tell us, have you got any evidence that shaving a few minutes off the bus journey into town along Histon Road is more likely than having a park and ride in the Histon or Islington area to encourage people not to bring their cars into the city?
I think enough opinion has been expressed at this meeting, and that should be reflected in the official record of the meeting, and it should go to the people that matter.
The back is, again, the Cambridge Association of Architects. It's a question to Mr. Menezes, actually for the board as well. You've mentioned that there were urban planners involved in the early discussion, in the early decision making. So again, I'm asking whether it was only WSP which was consulted, and whether there are any other urban planners, town planners, which have been consulted as part of the initial stages, and whether, as the LLF, as what we do, can we actually ask or recommend to commission someone, and I can think about only a couple of practices who are actually local to Cambridge. And you mentioned Fifth Studio, we've got Eliza Morrison, we've got Barton Wilmer, we've got Purcell. They're all specialising in designing urban streets, transport hubs. They all do that. The question is whether any of these professionals have been asked to join the early scheme. But maybe, and I'm just suggesting that maybe if they would have been involved to begin with, I'm assuming that they haven't, less of the people around here would be rather annoyed at the way that their streets are being addressed.
Yes.
If I go to these workshops, I've got to accept that basic assumption about plus change. I've got to help design them. I've got to help legitimate what will subsequently be said, which was that this scheme has been approved because you got the community involved in drawing it up.
Yeah.